the Rockets have gotten off to a good start. The additions they've made have been very, very good additions. Not just that those guys are playing well, but they're making the guys around them play well. I mean, I'll start us off here. Their defense has been really good. They're number one in fast break points per game defensively, so they're getting out and running on defense. They're third in overall opponent points per game. They're first in opponent assists per game, which tells me they're playing very good help defense out there. They don't turn the ball over that much. And I think Fred being that playmaker has helped Jalen Green. We were talking about it before the show. Jalen Green has had some bad games, but overall he's had more good games than bad for sure. He just needs to get that jumper going from outside, man. If he can be like I don't know what his percentage is. You were looking at it before.
No,
right?
This is just funny because you're right. These are his last 5 games: 4 for 10, 5 for 9, 11 for 15, 7 for 18, 1 for 13.
Exactly, yeah. So, and he has a game like this first or second game of the season where he had a really bad game too. So the numbers aren't telling the whole story.
But that's been the Jalen Green problem.
Exactly, yeah. That has been the problem with
Jalen
Green. Fred VanVleet has been a great playmaker for them. I mean, he's a shot chucker. We all know that about Fred. But one guy that was a shot chucker that doesn't look so much like it anymore, Dillon Brooks, man. Like I said, I think 55% he's shooting on the season. And the past few games, I was looking at the numbers last night, he's shot 6 shots, 7 shots, and he's giving you the defense that we know Dillon Brooks can bring. He's still got that edge to him, which Houston really needed, I think. And Baby Yoke, bro. Baby Yoke he's a baller. Şengün has probably been the best player on this team. And
so Dillon Brooks is currently shooting 53.3% from 3.
Yeah, that's
on low volume, 3.3 attempts per game. But that's perfect.
That's what you need. You need him to be able to hit the shots he takes.
And he's not taking these stupid-ass mid-range jumpers anymore. He's kind of removed that from his game.
So, Houston's gotten off to a great start. How bought in are we on the Houston Rockets start?
So, I think Fred was the steadying presence they needed offensively. I think Şengün is I think that jump is legit.
Yeah.
I've been clamoring for this to happen. I've been saying it's going to happen. Finally, he's averaging 19, 8, and 6. We knew he was a talented passer at center. The sets that they run for him, it all looks good. It does. It looks really good. Jalen Green needs to figure out this consistency. He's shooting 40% from 3 on 5 attempts per game, though. So the 3-point shot's fallen. It's just he's always struggled to finish at the rim, and that seems to still be an issue. He's too athletic for his own good in a weird way. Fred VanVleet, as I said, steadying presence on offense, and then you got the steadying presence on defense in Dillon Brooks. He gave this Houston Rockets team an edge, which they needed. And I feel like we were the main people saying it all off season. The hate on Dillon Brooks was ridiculous. Because, yes, he has his flaws as a basketball player.
He's an asshole.
We were no doubt about
it.
He's not a bad human being.
No,
he's
not. But he's an asshole.
He's a shit talker, and he is a problem starter. He loves that shit. He tries to start problems, and I absolutely love that about Dillon Brooks. And he, as I said, he gave a young team an edge. Yeah. Him and Fred VanVleet came in here, gave them veteran presence, and gave them a legitimate edge. I'm not saying that they're going to be one of the best teams in the Western Conference all year, but I do buy that they are a playoff team. I genuinely do. There isn't a crazy amount of talent on this team, but there's enough for me to believe that this shit is sustainable. Jabari Smith has just been playing a role. He's just been playing a role. And I think this is perfect. The way that this is structured right now, I think it's perfect. Of course, Amen Thompson got hurt. He's missed quite a few games, but I mean, I love what I'm seeing out of these guys. I really do. So, big shout out to the Houston Rockets, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, we mentioned Dillon Brooks and Fred VanVleet coming over and, being that veteran presence for the 6-3 Rockets. And, I've watched one Rockets game this year versus the Warriors where Steph Curry, picked up the ball. Yeah. But being transparent with you guys, there's 30 teams. We're not watching every single team yet. We'll get around to it. Man. But the two stats that really stand out to me are turnover percentage. The Rockets are the 4th lowest in the league at a 12.9%. And assist to turnover ratio, the Rockets are also 4th with a 2.0 even. So what that tells me is they're not making mistakes. And, you know, you look at their assist leaders. Obviously, you mentioned Şengün averaging 6 assists as a center is crazy in its own right. But you look at a guy in Fred VanVleet who's averaging 8 assists with 1.7 turnovers per game. And then you look at the three-point shooting. They're 7th in the league in three-point percentage at 37%. And you have multiple guys shooting, you know, above league average, 36%. You know, you have Dillon Brooks, like you said, shooting 53%. You have Tari Eason, who just got back, who's shooting 43%. I don't know if that's sustainable, but it is what it is. You have Jalen Green, who, you know, shooting 5 attempts per game. Like, that's not nothing. That's a good amount of attempts per game. He's shooting an even 40%. Obviously, I mentioned Fred, 36.8. Jabari Smith is shooting 36%. Jeff Green's shooting 36%.
That's
even
another veteran presence.
Even Aaron Holiday is shooting 33%, which the defense that Aaron Holiday brings, you'll take 33% from 3. I mean, their defense is incredible so far this year. You know, they're holding opponents to the 3rd lowest points per game. Their defensive rating is 4th in the league at a 108.1. Like, they're really putting it together, and it's, you know, the Ime Udoka effect, it's the Dillon Brooks effect, it's the Fred VanVleet effect. You know, these veterans and this coach came in and changed the culture. I don't know how sustainable it is. I don't think they're a playoff team, like a top 6 seed. Can they sneak into the play-in?
Just so
That's
hard.
what
I think they can sneak into
Just
the play-in.
so hard in the West, man.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But
Yeah,
there are
it's
some
too-
teams in the West that are falling off right now.
Yeah.
So, like, there's the worst team in the NBA right now in the Western Conference. Well, actually, second worst. The Detroit Pistons are 2-10. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I mean, it's open. They might have an opportunity here to sneak themselves in. So, but of course, you have to expect some positive regression from guys like from teams like the Phoenix Suns, the New Orleans Pelicans. Like, those teams will get right. Golden State Warriors are only 6-6 at this current moment. But yeah, I mean, we've kind of seen the West hierarchy trying to shape up a little bit, and I think things will be pretty solid for the Houston Rockets. I think a play-in.
They could totally get in there. Yeah.
Play-in opportunity will definitely be there.